Have you ever caught yourself scrolling through social media, comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel? Have you ever felt that sting of envy when someone succeeds while you're still grinding in silence? What if I told you that the same emotion holding you back could become the very fuel that propels you forward? Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Here we talk about self-mastery, resilience, and building a life of power and purpose, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Today's journey is about moving from green-eyed to goal-oriented, transforming jealousy into productivity, and learning the ultimate cure for envy: focused, meaningful work.
1. Recognizing wasted mental energy. Envy is not just an emotion, it's an energy leak. Every moment spent comparing yourself to someone else is a moment stolen from building your own future. Think about it. When you obsess over what others have, you're draining the mental fuel you could be using to create, grow, and improve. Imagine a reservoir of energy inside you, one that fuels your progress, focus, and creativity. Each time you dwell on another person's life, whether their wealth, achievements, or appearance, you poke a hole in that reservoir. The energy seeps out silently, leaving you more exhausted, more distracted, and ironically further away from the very things you wish you had. This is the hidden tax of envy. It makes you work harder internally, but achieve less externally. You end up fighting battles in your head instead of conquering challenges in the real world. The first step to overcoming envy is awareness. Awareness is a mirror. It forces you to see where your thoughts are wandering and whether they are serving you or sabotaging you. Recognize when your inner dialogue begins with phrases like, "Why them and not me?" or "If only I had what they had." These phrases are signals, red flags, reminding you that your mental energy is leaking into comparison instead of construction. The moment you notice these thoughts, you create an opportunity to intervene. Most people live on autopilot, unaware that they are bleeding mental strength through constant comparison. But you don't have to. Awareness gives you choice, and choice gives you power. Envy often disguises itself as harmless observation. You scroll through social media, glance at a colleague's success, or hear about someone else's promotion, and you tell yourself you're just taking note. But beneath that surface-level acknowledgement is a subtle resentment, a whisper that says, "That should be me." These whispers accumulate, and before you know it, they dictate your mood and erode your focus. When you start your day with envy, you often carry it like baggage, weighing you down in meetings, workouts, and even conversations. The cost is enormous, not because others have taken something from you, but because you've surrendered your clarity to thoughts that build nothing. Recognizing wasted mental energy is about reclaiming ownership of your inner life. Ask yourself, what have I gained from my envy so far? Has it ever built me a business, written me a book, or helped me grow stronger? The answer is always no. Envy produces nothing but dissatisfaction. But once you see this truth, envy loses its grip. You start to view it not as an unavoidable emotion, but as an intruder you can dismiss. Every time you catch yourself drifting into comparison, you have the choice to redirect, to take the same intensity of thought and fuel your own path. This recognition is not weakness, it is strength in its purest form.
2. Redirecting energy into purposeful action. Here's the shift. Instead of asking, "Why don't I have what they have?" start asking, "What can I build with the energy I have right now?" This single shift in questioning rewires your focus from scarcity to possibility. Every ounce of envy contains raw energy, a restless spark that wants to move somewhere. Left unchecked, it corrodes you, but directed wisely, it fuels transformation. The sting of jealousy can become the fire of motivation if you choose to channel it correctly. Think about great athletes, artists, and entrepreneurs. They often began their journey not from pure serenity, but from dissatisfaction, from the hunger to do more and be more. The difference is that they refused to stay stuck in envy. They turned the discomfort into drive. Purposeful action is the antidote, Nothing dissolves envy faster than work. When you throw yourself into building, creating, and growing, you starve envy of its oxygen. It thrives only when you are idle, when your hands are still, your mind wanders, and your energy drifts outward. But once you move into action, envy has no room to live. Whether it's learning a new language, pushing your body in the gym, or taking steps towards financial freedom, each purposeful action is a declaration. I will not waste my life watching others, I will build my own. Purposeful action grounds you in reality, reminding you that progress is always within reach. Redirecting energy doesn't mean ignoring envy, it means transforming it. Think of envy as emotional electricity. Left uncontrolled, it shocks and burns, but harnessed, it lights up cities. When you feel that surge of jealousy, pause and ask yourself, what does this feeling reveal about what I truly desire? Often, envy is a map pointing toward your neglected ambitions. If you envy someone's fitness, maybe your body is craving movement. If you envy someone's success, maybe your talents are urging you to step out of hiding. Envy is not your enemy, stagnation is. By decoding envy into action steps, you turn a destructive force into a constructive guide. The discipline lies in consistency. Redirecting energy once is easy. Anyone can do it for a day. But making it a practice is what changes your life. Imagine every time envy strikes, you commit to 20 minutes of focused work, or 10 push-ups, or one meaningful outreach to someone who could help you grow. Over weeks and months, this compounds into transformation. You will notice that the very people you once envied will fade into the background of your mind, not because they changed, but because you did. Your life becomes too full of movement, too alive with purpose for comparison to find a foothold. Envy loses its teeth when you are too busy building to be distracted.
3. Structuring your days for progress. Success doesn't happen by accident, it happens by structure. Without structure, your energy scatters, your focus slips, and envy finds its way back in. Think of your day as a container. If it's left empty, anything can pour in. Distractions, comparisons, wasted time. But if you deliberately design your day, you decide what fills it. Structure is not restriction, it is freedom. It frees you from the endless cycle of reacting to the world and gives you the ability to create from a place of intention. Envy thrives in unstructured lives because idle time becomes comparison time. When your day has no plan, your mind looks outward by default. But with structure, you leave little room for envy to take root. Plan your days around what matters most. Begin by asking yourself, what would make today meaningful if I accomplished it? That one question sets the tone for intentional living. Schedule time blocks for focused work, learning, physical movement, and rest. Protect these blocks fiercely as if they were appointments with your future self. A structured day doesn't eliminate challenges, but it equips you to face them with clarity. Instead of drifting into hours of passive scrolling or comparing, you're anchored in tasks that move you forward. Each completed block is a small victory, and these victories compound into confidence. Momentum comes from rhythm. Structure creates rhythm, and rhythm creates flow. When you wake up at the same time, dedicate the first hour to high-value work, and carve out time for growth, you train your body and mind to expect progress. This rhythm shields you from envy because it constantly reminds you of your own path. Comparison fades when you are deeply engaged in your own journey. Think about it. When you are immersed in learning, creating, or pushing your limits, you don't have the bandwidth to obsess over someone else's achievements. Your days become a cycle of input and output, nourishing your mind, strengthening your body, and producing results that accumulate over time. Living with structure also requires balance. Rest is not laziness, it is recovery. A structured day includes time for reflection, stillness, and recharging. This balance ensures you don't burn out while pursuing progress. Envy often grows in exhaustion because when you're depleted, it's easier to slip into self-doubt. By honoring both effort and rest, you maintain a strong inner foundation. Each day becomes intentional, a deliberate step forward rather than a reaction to external noise. Over time, your life becomes a testament to the power of structured energy, focused, calm, and unshaken by comparison. The bricks you lay daily form a wall so strong that envy can no longer penetrate it.
4. Measuring effort over outcome. Here's a secret most people overlook. Outcomes are not fully in your control, but effort always is. You may want the promotion, the medal, the recognition, the applause, but whether those things arrive depends on countless external variables outside your reach, other people's decisions, market fluctuations, timing, luck. When you measure yourself only by outcomes, you trap yourself in a game you cannot win because the rules are not yours to set. But when you measure effort, you step into a realm where control returns to you. You wake up, you commit, you put in the work, and at the end of the day, you know you held nothing back. This is the measure of progress the Stoics would have approved of because it depends on you and no one else. It is within your reasoned choice, your daily will, your present action. When you compare results, you'll always find someone ahead of you. There will always be someone richer, stronger, faster, more talented, or more fortunate. That is the inevitable nature of competition and of life itself. If you attach your sense of worth to the scoreboard of outcomes, envy will devour you, because no matter how high you climb, you will still be able to look upward and see another person standing higher. But if you compare effort, the entire framework changes. Now the question is not, am I better than them? But rather, did I apply myself fully today? You cannot always control whether you win, but you can always control whether you tried with sincerity and discipline. And in this effort-based metric, envy loses its grip, because your race is no longer against them, it is against your own lesser self of yesterday. Shift your scoreboard. Instead of asking, "Did I win yet?" ask, "Did I give my best effort today?" This one change rewires the way you view both success and failure. A failure with full effort is not defeat, it is education. It is the sharpening of skill, the refining of discipline, the planting of seeds that will one day bear fruit. A victory without effort, on the other hand, is hollow. It does not strengthen you, it does not sustain you, and it leaves you more fragile in the long run. By redefining success in terms of effort, you give yourself a compass that works in every storm, in every condition, in every circumstance. Whether you are winning or losing in the world's eyes, your standard remains constant. Did I bring my full self to the task today? Over time, consistent effort compounds into extraordinary results. This is one of life's most overlooked truths. People look at champions, creators, inventors, leaders, and assume they must have been destined for greatness, when in reality, the foundation of their achievements is usually unglamorous consistency. The writer who sits down daily to produce pages, even when uninspired. The athlete who trains relentlessly, even when unseen. The entrepreneur who makes call after call, undeterred by rejection. None of these people can guarantee an outcome, but by measuring effort, they guarantee that they will grow, improve, and eventually reach places that luck alone could never carry them. And envy? It fades into irrelevance, because when you are locked into your own process, you no longer hunger for what others have. You are too busy building what is yours.
5. Creating an unstoppable work ethic. The cure for envy is not more comparison, it's more commitment. The moment you shift your focus from what others are doing to what you are building, envy begins to starve. A person who spends their energy staring sideways cannot move forward with power. But a person who commits fully to their craft, who gives themselves to the long, patient, relentless pursuit of mastery, soon discovers that envy has no foothold. You don't cure jealousy by scrolling less or wishing harder. You cure it by locking into your work so deeply that you stop having time to measure yourself against others. Build a work ethic so strong, so relentless, that envy doesn't even have space to survive. When you are immersed in pursuit of your vision, chasing it with intensity, you no longer care about who is ahead or behind. You care only about the craft itself, about the process itself, about the quiet victory of knowing that you showed up again today. Work ethic is not talent. It is not a gift. It is a choice repeated so often that it becomes second nature. The disciplined wake up when others sleep. They practice when others rest. They prepare when others procrastinate. This is not glamorous, but it is unstoppable. A person who refuses to quit, who refuses to cut corners, who refuses to drift into laziness, becomes untouchable in the long run. Others may surge ahead temporarily with shortcuts or luck, but over time, the one who has cultivated a powerful ethic will outlast them all. When you work this way, envy dissolves because you know that your destiny rests not in comparison, but in endurance. You stop being anxious about others' speed because you are too certain of your own stamina. Discipline turns envy into fuel. Every time you feel that sting of jealousy, when you see someone else succeed, when you feel the old impulse to compare, you can redirect that energy into action. Instead of asking, "Why not me?" you ask, "What can I do right now to improve myself?" Persistence transforms jealousy into progress because every hour you spend working rather than resenting is an hour that compounds in your favor. Over months and years, those hours stack up into mastery. Envy never built anything, but discipline always does. And so, your ethic becomes your shield, your refuge, and your weapon. While others waste energy on comparisons, you are transmuting that energy into growth. And a strong work ethic makes you unstoppable, not because you're better than others, but because you're better than the person you were yesterday. This is the true victory, self-surpassing. You cannot control whether you will be the best in the world, but you can always control whether you are better than your old self. Each day of disciplined work adds to your strength, your skill, your resilience. Over time, the envy you once felt toward others is replaced by respect for yourself. You realize you no longer need to look sideways at all. You are too busy looking forward. And in this forward gaze, you find freedom. Freedom from jealousy, freedom from insecurity, and freedom from the endless treadmill of comparison. You become unstoppable not because you have conquered others, but because you have conquered yourself. So the next time envy creeps in, remind yourself, this isn't a curse, it's a compass. It's pointing you toward what you desire. But instead of letting it eat at you, let it push you into action. Recognize wasted energy, redirect it into purpose. Structure your days, measure effort over outcome, and build a work ethic that makes comparison irrelevant. If you found value in this message, subscribe for more tools on self-improvement, mindset, and motivation. Remember, the true cure for envy isn't wishing for someone else's life. It's building your own with power, purpose, and persistence.